The morning board meeting had ended with applause, but none of it mattered to CEO Victoria Hale. Billion-dollar contracts, glowing headlines, and a company that everyone admired could never fill the silence that waited for her a home. Sitting beside her in the back of the car was her 8-year-old daughter, Lily, whose gentle smile carried a sadness far older than her age. Lily had been born deaf, and although Victoria loved her more than anything, years of endless meetings had quietly built an invisible wall between them. They communicated through simple gestures and written notes because Victoria had never found the time to truly learn sign language. Every evening she promised herself she would start tomorrow, and tomorrow had become years. Hoping to make up for another missed weekend, Victoria cancelled her afternoon appointments and took Lily to a cozy neighborhood cafe far away from the city skyscrapers. The little cafe smelled of fresh coffee, cinnamon pastries, and warm bread. Families laughed together while soft music floated through the room. Lily watched everyone with curious eyes but remained quiet, tracing little circles on the wooden table with her finger. Victoria noticed the loneliness in her daughter's expression and felt a stab of guilt. She reached for her phone, intending to answer one quick email, but stopped herself. This day was supposed to belong to Lily. Just then, the cafe door opened. A young man wearing simple clothes walked in holding the hand of a cheerful little boy. Unlike Victoria's expensive designer suit, the man looked like someone who worked long hours just to survive. He smiled warmly at the cashier before sitting at the next table. As soon as Lily looked toward the boy, something extraordinary happened. The little boy raised his hands and began speaking through sign language. His father joined in effortlessly, his hands moving with confidence and warmth. Lily's eyes widened in disbelief before her face exploded into the brightest smile Victoria had seen in years. Without hesitation, Lily answered in sign language. Within seconds, the two children were laughing silently, telling jokes with their hands while the father translated playful expressions with animated gestures. Victoria sat frozen. She couldn't understand a single word, yet she understood everything. For the first time, she realized her daughter wasn't trapped in silence. She was trapped in a world where the people closest to her hadn't learned her language. Tears gathered in Victoria's eyes as she watched Lily come alive. The single father noticed Victoria's emotional expression and politely smiled before introducing himself through speech. His name was Daniel, a widowed mechanic raising his son Noah alone after losing his wife 3 years earlier. He explained that Noah had learned sign language because his late mother had been deaf. Victoria felt ashamed that a struggling father had done what she, with unlimited resources, never had. That quiet realization shook her more than any business crisis ever could. Little did she know, this unexpected meeting would completely transform not only her relationship with Lily but also the future of countless families. If this heartfelt story touches your heart, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications because the most emotional part is still ahead. Victoria could not stop thinking about Daniel's family. Before leaving the cafe, she asked if they would join them for lunch the following weekend. Daniel hesitated at first, embarrassed by the difference in their worlds, but Lily and Noah were already signing excitedly about seeing each other again. Over the next several weeks, Victoria did something no one inside her company expected. She left the office on time every evening and enrolled in an intensive sign language course. She practiced during breakfast, in the car, and before bedtime. At first her hands moved awkwardly, making mistakes that caused Lily to giggle, but instead of frustration, those mistakes filled their home with laughter for the first time in years. Slowly, conversations replaced silence. Lily began sharing stories about school, her dreams of becoming an artist, and the lonely days she had spent wishing her mother could truly understand her. Every sentence felt like discovering a chapter of a beautiful book Victoria had never opened. Meanwhile, Daniel continued repairing cars, never expecting anything in return. One rainy afternoon, Victoria secretly visited his garage and was shocked to find outdated equipment, leaking ceilings, and employees working tirelessly despite limited resources. She realized this humble man had given her the greatest gift imaginable without asking for recognition. Weeks later, during her company's annual charity gala, hundreds of executives gathered expecting another speech about profits and expansion. Instead, Victoria invited Daniel, Noah, and Lily onto the stage. The audience watched curiously as Victoria took a deep breath and began delivering her speech entirely in sign language while an interpreter translated her words aloud. She admitted that despite building a successful company, she had nearly failed at the most important job of all, being present for her daughter. She thanked Daniel for opening her eyes and announced the launch of a nationwide foundation providing free sign language classes for parents, teachers, and employers, ensuring that no child would ever feel isolated because of communication barriers. The room erupted in standing applause while tears filled countless eyes. Lily hugged her mother tightly, signing 4 simple words Victoria had waited years to understand. "I am proud of you." Victoria answered perfectly without hesitation. "I love you forever." Across the stage, Daniel smiled quietly as Noah squeezed his hand. That ordinary visit to a neighborhood cafe had changed 4 lives and inspired thousands more. Sometimes the greatest leaders are not the people with the biggest offices but the ones whose kindness teaches others how to truly listen. And sometimes the loudest conversations happen without a single spoken word. From that day forward, Victoria never measured success by stock prices or awards. She measured it by every heartfelt conversation she shared with her daughter, proving that love is not defined by sound but by understanding. If this story warmed your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share it with someone you love, because one simple act of kindness can change a life forever. Months passed, but the story of that quiet afternoon in the little cafe spread farther than anyone could have imagined. Victoria's foundation opened free sign language learning centers across the country, helping thousands of parents communicate with their deaf children for the very first time. Schools introduced inclusive programs, businesses hired trained interpreters, and families who had once felt isolated finally found hope. Every success reminded Victoria that the greatest investment she had ever made wasn't in technology or business, it was in people. Yet the biggest transformation happened inside her own home. Every evening, instead of answering emails, Victoria and Lily sat together on the porch, talking for hours with their hands. They laughed about school, shared dreams, told stories, and even argued over silly things like every loving mother and daughter. The silence that had once separated them had become the language that connected them. Lily no longer looked at the world with lonely eyes. She walked through life with confidence, knowing her mother truly understood her. Daniel's life changed too, though not because he had asked for help. Without making it public, Victoria invested in his struggling garage through a small business program, giving him modern equipment and opportunities to expand. She made sure it was presented as recognition for his honesty and hard work rather than charity. Within a year, Daniel's repair shop became one of the most trusted in the city, allowing him to hire more workers and spend even more time with Noah. Despite the financial success, Daniel remained the same humble man whose kindness had unknowingly changed another family's future. Whenever people praised him, he simply smiled and said, "Sometimes the smallest gesture reaches the deepest part of someone's heart." Years later, Lily stood on a large stage as a confident young artist, unveiling an exhibition called The Sound of Hands. Her paintings captured emotions that words could never fully express. The front row held the 4 people who had become an inseparable family of friends: Victoria, Daniel, Noah, and countless children whose lives had been transformed by the foundation. At the end of her speech, delivered beautifully in sign language, Lily paused before signing. "The day my mother took me to a cafe, I thought we were only going out for coffee. I never imagined we were walking toward a new life." The audience rose to its feet in a long-standing ovation. Many wiped away tears, realizing that the most powerful conversations are not always spoken, they are felt. As they left the theater that evening, Victoria looked at the same sky she had once stared at after leaving the cafe years before. She smiled, took Lily's hand, and signed the words that had become their daily tradition: "Thank you for teaching me your world." Lily squeezed her mother's hand and signed back, "You were always part of it. You just needed to learn how to see it." Because in the end, success isn't measured by titles, wealth, or applause. It's measured by the hearts we choose to understand, the people we refuse to give up on, and the love we express in every language, even the silent ones. If this emotional story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories that remind us kindness can change lives. Until the next story, take care of the people you love, because one moment of compassion can become someone's forever.